he probably put a couple of dollars, but he didn't do as much as Kaepernick did out of his own pocket with no job.
Right.
You know, but I'm saying
Kaepernick is still doing it.
Yes, he's still doing it. But even if all that is true, and no shade to J.J. Watt,
right?
But I'm like, why can't the black man have his moment in the glory or whatever without white people trying to steal his shine?
Because
why?
That's just how it is here.
I mean, it's like, so what? J.J. Watt raised some money. Good. Why does that take away from what Kaepernick is doing? You know,
because one's white, one's black.
Oh, when we know that, but that's just that's how a lot of white people are. They want to always try to steal the glory from what black people are doing,
or lower the
expectations, or the Yahoo behind it. You know, oh well, it's not that big of a deal. You know what? I don't have a thing against J.J. Watt, as you know, my man is a Texans fan, and you know, so there you have it. But at the same time, it kind of makes me not like him because you have all these white people who are trying to make him more than he is at the expense of Kaepernick.
Right. Because really, J.J. Watt didn't lose anything.
No, he didn't.
So anything that you do, if there's no consequence to it, or if there's no sacrifice to it, I'm not saying it's not worth doing, but you can't pat yourself on the back when you have no consequences of losing anything. That's like me going out here saying, well, I'm going to go feed the homeless, and I'm pulling up in my Mercedes.
Or you're giving the homeless your Mercedes, you know? Right.
So.
Yeah, but to me, that's just, it's not baffling. It's just like, give it a rest, people. Well, give it a rest.
Well, you know, in this case of this
I'm buying me a matter of fact, my man got me a GQ magazine, okay?
Okay, so, but in the case of this Judge Moore, this was a man that was on the Supreme Court in Alabama, and he has been, allegations have come out against him where he was basically dating girls that were underage.
Children.
And, you know, and the funny thing is his lawyer, somebody had said, I think it was his lawyer, had said that, oh, well, you know, he asked permission of the parents. Wait a minute.
And that's when he was trying to go to, in your country, that's what they do.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. He said that, you know, he can't recall ever dating a young person.
He can't recall?
Yeah, but, okay, and at the time he's about 30-something-year-old man.
He's still a grown-ass man.
Right.
Yeah.
If you got to ask permission to date a girl, obviously she's underage, but that goes back to saying what's going on in the South.
Because hey, no shade to the people in the South.
Right.
But, you know, many of us who've done my research and sociology would teach you that back then, the early 1900s, it was legal to marry a child.
Well, it still is legal in the South, and I think in most of America, I can't.
The age of consent is different.
Well, no. Actually, I come from a big family. You can marry your second cousin. That's still in the books of the South.
Why would you want to? But that's normal, though.
Yeah,
that's normal.
Well, you see it in the royal family. They marry their cousin.
Yeah,
that's how they keep their money. And that's why Britain has that's why they have bad teeth and stuff in Britain. Because of the inbreeding of them marrying their relatives.
But but to your point about the South, I think that is prevalent in the South to marry
your cousins.
Yeah, cousins, and maybe people who are younger, because I know a lot of those states, the age of consent is not like it is in a lot of states where 18 that makes you an adult.
Right. And even if, you know, Mary Sue, like, okay, a good example is the coal miner's daughter. How old was she when old boy was way older than her? She was, I think, 13 or 14.
Well, if you want to take it, I don't know if it was before the coal miner's daughter, but Color Purple.
Yeah.
You know, like Celie was what, 14, I think?
Yeah.
She was a child in the movie, but we know that back in those days, that was
common.
That was common.
Thing. Yeah.
Old buster up the street was 45, 50, wants to marry, you know, Mr. Johnson's child, who was 12.
And Mr. Johnson, being a coal miner, or, you know, coming from impoverished beginnings, like, hey, why not? That's one less mouth to feed.
So he might be on to something. I asked permission. Can I be with you? Like, dude. Why would you want to be with somebody's child?
Yeah, but here's my problem. Like I said, I'm an independent. The Republican Party talks about they're the party of family values,
but they keep getting caught up in all this nonsense.
That's why I don't understand. You know, they're from values, but you're supporting a guy that is obviously for statutory rape, who's a judge who should, you know, that's scary.
And you got all these other people who are trying to explain it away.
Right. you know, they're not for abortion, but yet when the kids get here, they don't want to support them in the school.
Or how
vouchers.
about when a senator gets caught up and then his mistress releases the text message saying he wanted me to get an abortion, but yet he's a staunch advocate for, you know, family values.
Back to Alabama, the governor that was caught up in an affair.
Right.
Republican governor.
But again, that kind of takes us to our original point that these men, the powers that be, who are descendants of the forefathers and all these other people, it's cool as long as they're touching up on people, kids and women and all kind of stuff. But in public, we're going to put on this persona that we're so against it, and we're going to write all these laws against you. But when we get calls like, well, what had happened was I asked her mama, could I date her?
Right. So that I guess that makes it okay.
I guess.
So the mom giving permission, that's like me saying, okay, you're my child, but go ahead and smoke this crack because I'm your parent. I give you permission. It's still against the law.
It's just what it is. It's just sick, you know, not all. It's just sick white men behaving badly, and they've always behaved badly. Now they're just getting exposed for it. That's all it is.
You know, but here's, what do we say on the show all the time?
What are you going to do? Well, I don't think at this point it's for us to do because white women are taking them to task, you know? Because, and this is the kind of the other side of the coin that I have. I'm going to shine. We got plenty of time. Is that when the white men were doing it to us, Miss Ann was turning a blind eye. Well, you know better her than me. You better hear me doing all those things to her than me.
It's funny she said that. I was watching on Stars late last night, Hollywood Shuffle. And remember have you seen the movie?
A long time ago.
Remember that part where they were doing like the slaves running away?
Oh, yeah.
And the brother was like, and Anne-Marie Johnson was like, oh, Mandingo, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And the other girl, you know, because I guess I those are his women. Oh, I love you too. And then Miss Ann comes and he runs off with Miss Ann and leaves the sisters down the ditch.
And so, yeah, I mean, but it was cool when it was getting done to us. They, you know, like I said, better them than me. I can't have him doing all those deplorable things to me. I just want to do missionary, but he can go blow her back out and mistreat her, you know. Which,
you know, and unfortunately, and I have a problem with it, black women are over-sexualized in the media.
Oh, it's from that's taken place since slavery, and unfortunately, we have bought, and we've been talking about this lately. I'm going to talk about this on my show Sunday.
Oh, right. Awesome.
We've bought into the stereotypes that's who we are. There are lies that have been perpetuated about us, and then from slavery, and some would even say with the Willie Lynch syndrome, which a lot of people have debunked it as not really being authentic, but it makes a lot of sense. We've been brainwashed to think those things. Black women are, you know, that we hoes and all this other stuff, and so we just kind of carried that on.
Well, the thing is, okay.
Not all, but some.
Right, but then again, that same narrative, would you agree or disagree that a lot of black women have jumped into that and bought into that because they're not getting married, they're looking like Morlocks, they're, you know, I mean, they're really doing everything that is the stereotypical thing. Nobody's making them do it. They're doing it out of, I don't know if it's mental illness or what. Mental illness, that's debatable. I just think it's a lack of self-love is what it is. When you love yourself, it could be. When you don't love yourself, you buy into a whole lot of stuff. You do things to yourself, you know, a lot of times physically that you wouldn't ordinarily do. I know you have a problem with black women and the blonde hair and the color. I mean, some will argue that it looks ridiculous. Some people will say it's just something I like to do. Right. And no, again, that's a misconception. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with people who monetarily can't afford it.
Okay.
That's what I have a problem with. And you're over at the Winco, my favorite chicken place. Al's too. Best chicken in the world. You get 4 pieces for $3.78.
I wouldn't know. I'm a vegan.
Okay, right. Okay. But when Al was here, he came and got a whole bucket.
A trough of chicken. Okay. He got barbecue, baked, fried. I'm like,
lemon flavored.
You gonna be clucking by the time you leave, okay?
All right, but when you see people who are on the public dole, and I'm just going to say public dole because people don't like me saying welfare. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to be shamed, but yet you're on it.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a problem with people who are on the public dole and are being subsidized by me and other taxpayers, putting these expensive hairstyles in their hair, or they're doing it themselves and the track is bent up and all that other stuff like that, and they look like clowns. So if you're going to do it right.
The track is bent up.
So
oh my God.
that's the difference. You know,
Okay.
I mean, because what it is, unfortunately, and I'm not. What the media portrays is that person, even though they're a small minority of our community.
Well, okay, it is that individual,
right.
but it's not black people collectively.
Right, what I just said.
And we always talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Claude Anderson says that black people own less than 3% of the media. So with
mm-hmm.
that said, we don't control the narrative.
Right.
And so if you're somebody who was not educated, and I'm not even charging white people to this. I expect for them to be uneducated about us.
Right.
But it's a lot of times black people who are not educated about us. And so when we see those images, we say, look at black people, they're making us look bad. Opposed to saying, well, that's a small portion of black people or black women who are doing that. Because I personally don't hang out with women who behave the way the media portrays black women.
Right.
I don't even know if I know it. I do, but I'm
right. But my problem is too the same thing with me. Like I said, number one, women that are my age, that are running around with purple, black, whatever this unnatural hair, you're done as far as I'm concerned. You are mentally incapacitated for those people. But then these women have girls that have children. I mean, it's a it's just the same thing as and this is my personal opinion, why I think.
Because you're going to get cussed out by
of course. But again.
Don't you do it.
No. But again, if you're not getting upset at what I say and stuff like that, that tells me you're not listening.
Okay, I thought you was about to give the big old.
Oh no! You can see that on right behind me how I feel about that. But I don't have to curse you. But what I'm saying is, if you don't get upset by what I'm saying, that's just telling me you're not listening.
Right.
Because I could be totally wrong, but prove me wrong.
Okay.
So my thing is, it's the same thing as with men.
Right.
You have two generations of men now that don't know how to be men. They're walking into jail. They rather stay in the ghetto. They don't want to work because the father was taken out. That's two generations. So now you have two generations of women who feel, I don't want to get married.
Right.
All I got to do is have a baby and I can get Section 8. I can do all this other stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a generational problem. Like if I see my mom always wearing a weave, male or female, as her child, what do you think what kind of message is that putting in my head?
Well, I would say overall that you don't love yourself.
Thank you.
And listen, obviously this is not all my hair. So
but it's Afrocentric.
Okay, so yes, I guess I get a point for that. But because a lot of times people say women who wear weaves don't love themselves. I disagree with that because there are women who have a lot of hair, such as myself. I got a lot of hair under here. It's just easier to do, to manage and all that. But then there are those cases of women, like you said, who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And let's even take it to the 30s. Wearing the pink and purple, a bird of paradise hairstyles and all this
the
other
helicopter
stuff.
with the spinner.
Yeah, and so I think there is something going on there.
So.
But if your children are seeing you walking around looking like a white woman and you're black, that would seem a confusing message to them.
We have a mutual friend, dark skin, beautiful skin. She's running around looking like a Morlock.
Running around looking like a Morlock.
And for those of you guys that don't know what a Morlock looks like, take a look at this. That was a Morlock. So that's what I see when I see these beautiful black women with hair. Better example, Afrocentric hair. It looks like your hair. It looks like it'd be blended into your hair. Whatever. It's a nice grade of hair. No problem. But if you wore something that was straight and blonde, you'd look ridiculous.
And I'm just, me personally, yes, that would look ridiculous on me. I mean, I would just feel funny. Because I see some women who got this platinum blonde, just fabulous hair.
And we're laughing all the way to the end.
I'm not necessarily laughing, but I'm like, sister, why?
Why?
Why? You know, just why?
Don't tell me you love yourself when you're doing that.
I think it's an issue when you're trying to look like somebody other than you being a black woman.
What happened to the days? I mean, you're seeing these younger black, and that's why I know it's a self-esteem problem and it's a mental issue. Never, and when we were coming up, a sister didn't need to get a boob job. A sister didn't need to get a butt job. A sister didn't need eyelashes.
Can I tell you why?
Go ahead.
It's because, I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Oh, take my word, yes.
I just think for a lot of black women who have, because black women have been assimilating for a while now, since the 50s and 40s and all of that. I think a lot of it nowadays, you see women who are morphing into these creatures. Because they don't look like women to me. I'll just be honest with you. They're morphing into these creatures because they're trying to get your attention.
But you're not getting my attention.
I know, but I'm thinking that's what's going on here, because I always go back to Lil' Kim, because I think while a lot of people make fun of her, I think what she said was very telling. Okay. And she said for herself, she destroyed, I would say, her body and her face. Yeah. And she's cognizant of that because she was trying to get you as a brother, not you per se, to want her. Because she said all the black men that she's ever dated, including not dating her father, but her father talked negatively about her as a black woman, called her ugly, and she'd been cheated on by her men with white women.
But shouldn't you have to love yourself first?
You do, but I'm saying, but what about women who don't necessarily, not that they don't know how to love themselves. And so they're spending all this time trying to love you as a black man, but then you spit on your heels after you done called her ugly black bitch or whatever, and then she go see you out in the town with a white woman. That has to do something to her.
True, but however, and I understand that is a possibility, and I'm not taking that away from you. Okay, but sometimes you just got to go with what you got to go with, and there's nothing more beautiful than a person that knows self. I get comments on this show about how pretty you are and all this other stuff like that.
How pretty you are?
No. Do I look like Denzel? Yes. I mean, yes. I mean, it's like I get mistaken all the time. But, however, I'm myself. So, oh man, oh, she's so pretty and this, that, this. Because, like I said, let's face it, your mother was a beautiful woman. I remember the first time I saw your mom, I was like, oh my God. Because I had never seen, she had all the attributes of what beautiful, just lips, eyes, shape. That's why she left. And I'm mad at your mom for not supporting the troops.
She tried.
Yeah, no, she tried. Mr. Coulter came along and swept her off her feet. That's it. And brother over there fighting for his life. Come home, girl gone. Jody gone. But beautiful woman. But that's what I'm saying. When you don't love yourself and you have children, it affects the children. Why should I go for this when I can get me a real Becky with the real hair?
And I've heard a lot of black men say that if you're going to be running around looking like a white woman or trying to, I might as well go get one. I just think it's a lot of things, but I think, and I always say this to you, as a black man, start telling the black women what you want to see. And I know you're pretty good at that, but, but find a way to, because, if you tell a woman, you ugly with that, you look like a moron, that's just going to have her say, screw you, I'm going to do me.
And they are doing them. Like I said, when I see these women dating white men, hey, do you?
Black women, though, need to feel like they are loved by black men.
But those of us that love you guys, we don't get no time of day because we get stereotyped with the brothers that treat you badly.
Yeah, but it's just it's gonna take us some work. I mean,
and I don't have time. I'm 47 years old.
It's just we've been conditioned that way to not love each other. And I always say this. I don't ever see white men, Asian men, Mexican men, or Latin men, however you want to say it. I never see them on social media tearing their women down. I've not seen it. But we can see it all day in our community.
Because, again, in our community, we only have ourselves to blame.
No, we don't.
No. I know what you mean. But I'm talking about at the end of the day, we make our own decisions of what we're going to follow, whatever. Wait a minute. When you got women that are twerking with their daughters, when you got women that are acceptable of the way their children are acting. My mother always told me, you don't find no bike. You don't find this.
But that's not prevalent to black people.
No. It's not prevalent to black people. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about black people, period. We've got to start taking responsibility for what we do. and making a standard.
But again,
and keeping
I agree
standard.
because Black people were, and to some degree, we still are the standard. But again, we need to stop feeding into Black people don't, won't, can't. We got to stop it because it's not all Black people. Me and you don't act like that.
Right.
We know other Black people who don't act like that. I didn't come from that.
Right.
You didn't come from that. So it's going to take people like us to just continue to set the example and to refute and rebut those stereotypes that come out against us. Because the more we keep repeating it, the more we perpetuate it, the more we give it legs that it doesn't deserve.
Right, absolutely. But like I said, I'm going to say, for whatever reasons, women are raising the children. They have now broken out and are the leaders of their families or whatever the deal is. But at the end of the day, I've been doing a lot of research, watching Maury, and I'm not lying. I watch it, but I don't relate that to me. That's entertainment.
I watch it, but I don't watch.
No. I just don't relate it to real life. To me, that's entertainment.
Oh yeah, obviously.
But doing a lot of outreach that I do and seeing what I see and the traveling that I've traveled. Like I said, I was just down in Houston.
Yeah. And mad as a mother.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing down there. But at the end of the day, women are making the choices that they're making. Right. Don't sit there and blame society. Oh, I don't like Black men because the guy you picked to have children with, which you knew was a drug dealer or wannabe drug dealer or wannabe gangster, is in and out of jail and he's not providing, or he plays video games all day. You knew that from the get-go.
Well, my dad always says, too, a woman worth her weight is going to impose some demands on a man. So if you know you're with a man who is not doing the things, and this is where some feminists will, disagree, doing the things that a man should do, it's, providing, protecting, and all these other things by you and the family, then, and you're watching him do that, that's your fault. Because I'm not going to be with no man who's going to sit up on his couch all day and play video games while the trash is piling up.
Right. Why the hell would you date a man that doesn't have a car?
Well, and
doesn't have a job.
But, okay, some people just don't have a car. I don't think that's a huge crime. But if you don't have a car, in addition to not having a job, in addition to not looking for a job or creating your own or being upwardly mobile and you're on the couch and playing video games, you have nothing positive to add to the day, that's a problem.
Right. Well, again, when I say don't have a job or don't have a car, what I mean is has either wrecked their car or they're in your car more so than you are.
Or if you, and listen, I agree with you. But if you're going to be in my car, be helping me pay this note.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But how can you do that if you don't put a demand on him to have a job?
Exactly. Look, baby, you can drive this car till the wheels fall off, and as long as you can replace the wheels.
Right. And get it in writing.
Right. But a lot of times, as women, and I'm just speaking from a woman's point of view, we don't impose demands upon our men. And, I'm older now. I don't have that issue, but I used to have that issue. Just being young and not experienced and all that kind of stuff. But as a woman now, I wouldn't be with no man, and I'm not with a man like that.
And back then, we didn't have the social media and the Google internet where you can get information like that.
Yeah. So if you with a man who ain't about nothing, he was already that before you had kids and decided to move in. He just didn't look deep enough.
See, and my thing is this. If you met the guy, he didn't have a job, he didn't have a car, whatever his situation is, why would you expect him later on to have all those
we
things?
talk about this a lot too. There's a lot of women who have this thing thinking, I can fix him.
I'm the only one, right?
I can make him all that he needs to be. He just hasn't been with a good woman. Right. And I agree to that to some. I think a good woman will help a good man become a greater man. But it's hard to take a man who, for one, doesn't want to be greater. He has no ambitions. You can't, hustle is something you can't teach. Now, you can watch a person with some hustle and say, okay, this is how you do it. But that kind of has to be something you do.
Okay, well, are you describing me right now? Because I don't have any hustle to do anything but other than...
No, you a damn lie, okay? You are the epitome of hustle. But, I'm just saying, you can't... I hate to hear that from women. He ain't no good.
Yeah, and they run that, and that's another thing you got to think about. These women, they get these guys, and it doesn't work out, it doesn't whatever, and then they run the father down in front of the children.
Or, as you say, I'm going to go get me a white man. I'm here to tell you, not that I know from experience, because I've never been with a white man, is that you're going to have those issues over there.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't think color makes a man bad.
Just because you're changing up teams doesn't mean the rules
And maybe it ain't the man. Maybe it's you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Exactly. What's the common denominator?
Yeah, maybe it's you.
Mm-hmm. And I always tell people that as successful as I am in life, I guess, and making the right decisions for myself, my relationships, I already know the common denominator is me. So,
and it usually is. If you keep getting with a bad apple, maybe you need to stop picking out of the bad apple barrel.
And we're going to talk about a very, very important issue in the second hour. And we're going to talk about this. And it has to do with me and a recent development that I had to go to court about.
Ooh.
And I know everybody can relate to this. Because exactly, but everybody can relate to this. And I want you guys to learn about this so you don't get burned. You know, business is business.
Business is business. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.